Welcome, everybody, to the Fantasy Golf Insider webcast and podcast. I'm Jeff Bergerson, joined as always by my partner, Zachary Turcotte. We are with FantasyGolfInsider.com, your home for the best resources for fantasy golf and DFS golf. You need to become a member right now if you're not, because this webcast just scratches the surface with information. We have all of the articles, tools, and information that you need to be a successful and profitable fantasy golf and DFS golf player on the website. Go on and join. It's less than like $3 a week, pretty much, for all of the information for our basic package. So, Zachary, it is good to be back. I was down in sunny, hot Florida, not your type of temperature.
It didn't sound like fun to me at all, actually. When you said it was 95 and you were at the course,
95 plus.
Brought back memories for me of when we were at Whistling Straits, melting in the sun.
It was different. It was a great experience, and I'm glad I went down there. I was at TPC Sawgrass last week on Thursday. It was hot. However, the difference between that and Whistling Straits, there weren't nearly as many people. I got there at, it was a little bit before 7 a.m., and of course, no one shows up at 7 a.m. on Thursday. Yeah, no one's going to be there. Yeah. So I was following the Spieth, Mickelson, Hideki group. I was following the Fowler, Day, Stenson group.
You were actually able to get close.
Absolutely. Yep, not that many people, because they teed off, I don't know, maybe it was like 9 a.m. Still not that many people, but once they hit the back nine, that's when the crowds start rolling in. It's about 11, they're rolling out of bed. And then I just hop groups and go to one of those secondary groups, which is the best.
And who did you put your curse on?
I put my curse on, actually, I was with the Kisner, Henley, Rod Pampling group, and it was me and Henley's mom, who was a very nice lady, by the way. I was chatting with her, and either his sister or girlfriend, it was one of the two. I didn't want to ask, it would seem awkward.
I think he's married.
Is he married? Maybe it's his girlfriend.
Breaking news, hot takes.
And then Kisner, I think it was his grandparents, because they were about that age, nice folks, and they were rooting for him, and like two other people. So got real up close.
Did you have your FGI gear on?
Oh, of course.
Bright green
shirt? Of course. Yeah, nice. Absolutely. Tons of trees on the course, so there was plenty of shade to be had. Not many people. So it was a good experience. They had plenty of water. Unlike Whistling Straits, they actually sold
There weren't like people
hydration
collapsing in line.
There were people like passing out from dehydration. So no, it was great. Great experience. I love that course. I've always wanted to go there and check it out. It's so challenging. There's so much trouble. Guys just get into huge messes, and it's fun to watch, you know? And it really rewards good quality shots. Tricky. I was on 17 for about an hour and a half, just laying on a side hill, just watching them come in and
get into the water.
Yep, I kind of dozed off laying there watching them. It was just pretty sweet, just sweating buckets.
Sounds like a good time. I mean, the only thing that must have been more fun than that is waiting in line at Disney World to get on the teacups for an hour, right?
It was a family vacation / golf vacation, so I got away on Thursday.
It was like your vacation from
the vacation. That's right. We did Disney World with the family, and that is
miserable,
very, very challenging. Yeah. The kids were fun. There were good times. We had good times, but there's so many people there. It's so expensive. I just don't even. Yeah. I don't know. But kids loved it, so they were happy. Wife loved it. She wanted to go more than the kids, so yeah.
All right.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
So the golf tournament was good.
On Thursday, everything looked great, right? Thursday, Friday
was nuts.
Thursday and Friday, I was like, okay, I'm kind of in the mix here. A lot of guys that I'm on this week are playing pretty well. Like a couple guys are a little bit off, but I didn't feel bad at all Thursday about my team. Friday, okay. There's some things that weren't quite as good as Thursday, but overall my teams were all really still in the mix. They built 5 teams for the big GPP, or 7 teams for the big GPP. 5 of them got through 6 of 6, and there were a ton of 6 of 6.
Yeah, there were 40%. Yeah,
but I still felt good. I mean, 72%. And it took a real miracle for me not to have 6 of 7. I mean, it took Mark Leishman putting up 5 bogeys on the last 6 holes to just completely melt down and miss for me not to have hit 6 of 7. And then Saturday rolled around, and just like last year, everything seemed fairly normal. The first couple days, guys are doing okay, they're fine. And then Saturday, we saw high scores from players that you just don't see high scores.
John Rahm.
John Rahm.
Oh my gosh.
Matt Kuchar.
Kuchar.
Both shot in the A's. John Rahm had to shoot plus 10
Whoa.
to MDF, and he needed every one of those strokes.
He was in 4th place.
He was in the top 10 hovering around the first 2 days.
Nuts.
And missed putts he must have missed 10 putts inside of 15 feet
Right.
on Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened because that's not a wind issue.
No.
I don't know if it's a fatigue thing or if you just miss one or two and the momentum just carries through. I mean, I guess he's due for that once in a while, but it was horrific to see it happen. Kuchar, I've never seen that happen to Kuchar.
No.
And then Justin Thomas, he fired us. That wasn't as much of a surprise.
No,
Justin
he's
Thomas
volatile.
is a little bit of a blow-up artist.
For sure. Because he's strung together some great holes during stretches. But
Yeah,
so did
it can
everybody.
be.
Like day one. I was watching Adam Scott for a while, and he is just looking like he is all world and he's going to cruise, and then boom.
He got to -6.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 holes.
That's right.
Double.
Yep. And dead. And then he comes back and played well at the end and
played
finished
fine.
well. Sergio was exactly opposite. I thought he was dead at +4, and then he's reborn.
Were you sitting there when he hit the hole in one?
So I saw him on 16. I believe he birdied 16, and then he hit the hole in one. So I was on the 16th green, which is right next to the 17th tee box, watching Sergio, and he, of course, holes it. And
Do you want to do the hole in one rant this week?
oh, for Christ's sake.
Because as soon as
so
I saw
bad.
that, I'm checking my scores. Just checking my scores. I don't watch a lot Thursday because it just drives me nuts.
Yep.
Start watching on Thursday. I'll check the scores. And I see Sergio hit the hole in one. I said, great. Well, I don't have Sergio on my GPP rosters this week.
We both faded him.
He's going to be on the winning team for sure.
I know.
Now,
Yep.
wherever he finishes. So how stupid is this? Ian Poulter finishes in 2nd place,
Yep.
and he's got like 98 points.
Yep.
Sergio finishes in 30th place, and he's got 99 points for the week. Does that make any fucking sense, DraftKings?
Just fucking fix it, for
fix
Christ's
that.
sake.
It would take-
It's stupid.
Flip one little switch, just take
At
away.
this point, it's just ego. They're not doing it to prove a point that everyone tells them this. Everyone in the industry, every player says it's nonsense. No one I've ever talked to says it's great, it's exciting.
I love the hole
no,
in one.
It's stupid.
Because when it happens to a guy like that who's like 15% owned, you're
stupid.
Oh, well, there's the contest
I
right
know.
there. And it's totally luck. I mean, Sergio
Absolutely.
he'll hit
Nonsense.
one hole in one every 5 years or something along those lines at an event. So it's not predictable in any type of way. It's no skill when a guy actually... No, it's just it's a lucky shot. So giving him the extra 10 points on that, I don't like that at all.
Especially in a week where scoring is so low like this week.
Yeah.
It makes such a huge difference. So he got 18 points.
Right.
So he got like 20% of his total points for the entire tournament?
For that one shot.
For that one shot.
And of course, it doesn't matter that he can go out there and make a triple bogey on a hole after that, which would completely wipe away all of the scoring that took place right there. He's locked in for those 18 points. So
every tournament we've seen a hole in one, and I'll have to look back. I'll bet that guy has been on a winning roster.
Always. And I was even shocked. And then when we saw Cabrera put the albatross in. Unfortunately, he was only owned by like 4%.
Right.
I had him, but just for small shares.
I did too.
I had him between 5 and 10% in my my big field GPP where I had like 100 teams. But I thought for sure that would put him up into the winner's circle too, because he ended up being. Again, he also outscored. I think he outscored the Ian Poulter, who was in second place, which is just kind of crazy. Yes,
wrong.
It's a great shot. I would rather see the guy. I'd rather see more points for the albatross than for the hole in one on a par 3.
Because it happens such a fraction of the time.
It's so rare, and you actually have to hit one good shot to be in position to hit the second good shot.
That's true.
But even that is a ton of points.
Yeah, it's dumb.
It's a ton of points.
Yep.
I mean, just bring it down a little bit. Just don't make it quite as big of a bonus. Rewarding guys who finish, and at least Cabrera finished like 5th or 6th, somewhere in the top 5.
Exactly.
So at least that's okay that he had.
Yep.
It's not as big of a discrepancy as a guy who's 30th, who's more than the second place guy. But it would just be a little fix, and nobody would be bothered by that.
Everyone would like it.
Everybody would like it.
99% of people would like it.
Yeah, so
That's our rant.
yeah,
Siwoo Kim comes out victorious, owned by, what was he owned by? I had it down here, like 0.17% of the field, I think. Was it? Yeah, 0.17 in the $3 or the $4.
we actually have to give you a little bit of a shout out.
Yeah.
Because and I know
Again.
you're going to be thrilled about this, but your crystal ball just nailed another
It's
one.
sick,
and
isn't
I reread it every couple months during the season just to kind of track where it's at.
You're right.
And the last time I read through it, I stopped at Siwoo. I'm like, oh, this is
Missed
the
that
clear
one.
miss right here. This will be a D
That's
or
right.
an F for
Yep,
the year.
yeah.
And sure enough, this week, and I mean, he's been hurt, he's been banged up, and I know his back, it's still bothering him. It's
That's
not
been
like
his problem. He's
not like
got a ton of talent.
It's not like he's all the way past it yet, because I could see him. It was a little bit sore, and he'll probably this is good. I think this is good. He'll be able to space it out for the rest of the season, take a little bit more rest, because he was a guy who was just playing every single week, and so he never really had a chance to back off of it at all.
Now he's got 5 years.
Now he's got 5 years.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I think he'll be. I think it'll be all right for him. It'd be interesting to see when he chooses to do his military service. And this is about the time when we lost Sang-Moon Bai 2 years ago, who should be just getting ready to come back.
I'll bet his game is sharp.
Yeah, I know it'll take a little while, but and it's really too bad that he does have to go home and serve, because he at 21. I was just doing the show with Feinberg before, and I mean, he's been on the tour now for a few years, so you forget just how young this guy is, and now he's won twice within the last year, which not a lot of 21-year-olds do. How good could this kid end up being in another 3 or 4 years?
I was frustrated because I texted you this. I said I actually looked at that article before, and I said I want to make sure, because I don't want to miss any of these guys in this article when they do go off.
Yeah.
And I loaded up on Fowler, loaded up on Matsuyama, a bunch of other guys in the field. I couldn't have Cameron Smith at Zurich, obviously, so I missed out on that. And I missed out on Siwoo this week. And I was kicking myself.
But it's been impressive, because a lot of guys at the beginning of the season, they'll write kind of a preview on the year, and they'll pick a bunch of top kind of names, top heavy names. But you had Siwoo. You only had like 15 guys in the article, but you had Siwoo Kim in there. You had Adam Hadwin in there.
Cam Smith in there.
Yep. You had Hudson Swafford in there.
Right, he won. Yep.
Is there anybody else that was kind of a longer shot?
I don't know.
I know you didn't have Brian Harmon.
No, I don't like Brian Harmon. My two big ones were Fowler and Matsuyama, who have both
have won. So you've already had like 6 or 7 winners
out of like 15 guys.
That you wrote
and
up.
we're only halfway
done. Is there anybody who's been a big miss? I can't remember offhand.
So far, Richard Bland.
Over
on the European tour.
He hasn't really picked up.
He hasn't been. Wee Kim.
Okay.
There's still time for Wee Kim.
He's had his moments. He had a chance to win Puerto Rico.
He did.
So what did he finish second?
Oh, I think he ended up like 5th or something. Yeah.
Yeah, he was top 5. Yeah, so he was.
There's a couple other guys. So check out the article, I guess.
Good. Reread it over time, because I think people read it when it first comes out in December,
and then
by like March you've forgotten about it.
I know.
But the last 3 years, it's been probably one of our best columns of the year, because Jeff he's had a really good vision in terms of what he called out Spiecier ahead of time. He had him winning a major a couple years back. I can't remember all the guys you had last year, but you hit a bunch of guys that were long shots, and you've already hit guys this year who nobody else was talking about in terms of having a win, and you've had 4 or 5 of them already. So
thanks, dude.
Yeah, no, it's pretty impressive. Like I said, I was laughing when I saw Siwoo on there.
Right.
This will, because you grades them out at the end of the year. He'll go back and grade them at the beginning of the next one. I thought, this will be the one that he misses on this year, but.
I had Fratelli too, actually.
Really? So
so and did he win?
No.
Or he took second? He lost in the playoff.
Choked
right?
it away.
Yeah, that's
he
right.
Had it and choked it
that
away.
was very close, though. Very close for a guy no one's even heard of. So.
Yeah, not bad.
So anyway, should we turn the page on the players?
Please. Dude.
Yeah.
It's been a tough one every year for me over the last 3 years. I mean, I don't know what it is, but like this year, there were really no names. I mean, Scott got up near the top of the leaderboard, kind of rallied at the end. But other than that, DJ 12.
Right.
What was Roy?
That was about
22nd or 30th or something. He wasn't that close. Spieth misses another cut there.
Yeah.
Fowler, he fell off a cliff at the end. Rose was terrible on Sunday. I mean,
Matsuyama ended up, I think, 22nd or something like that.
Yeah, but never really made the chart.
No, he was never in it.
Brooks was like 16th. But I mean, there were no real names.
It's crazy.
So I mean, if you have pricing the way it was last week, and you have the opportunity to load up on a lot of the name players like we did. And then, I mean, Scott was my only real core guy who really hit it for me and was great, but everybody else just couldn't keep their game together. DJ actually did, but the other 4 guys all just nosedive. One after Keimer the last day.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just every value play on the board, it seemed like that people jumped on or gravitated towards. Just hit a moment where they just decided to just I'm just done. I'm just bogeys for the rest of the day. So yes, let's clear that one away. Thank God I don't have to see that course for another year.
So we'll leave Florida. We'll head to Texas for the AT&T Byron Nelson this week at TPC Four Seasons Resort. The last time it's going to be held there after quite a long run. It's at Las Colinas, which is actually in like Irvin, Texas. 7,166 yards. It's a par 70. We actually have some pretty big names in the field this week for the week after the Players. Pretty intriguing, I guess.
A lot of Texas guys. Yeah.
Key stats, birdie or better percentage, strokes gained tee to green, specifically approach, mostly between 150, 175 if you want to get really specific, strokes gained putting and scrambling. Looking at the field, Zachary, again, we have that choice with DJ up top at 12.5, who's considerably more than the next price guy, who is Garcia at 11,000, and then have Spieth at 10.8, Brooks Koepka at 10.2, and Jason Day at 10.1. What are you thinking initially in that range?
It's tough. I think this will be a week where I probably get back to DJ.
Are you?
I mean, I had about 30% DJ. I really thought last week would be more of a Rory week. I had been looking through Twitter, and somewhere along the way before the tournament, I think I saw somewhere where somebody said Rory's got like a sore back or something, and I didn't think too much of it. And then after the first round on Thursday, you hear the announcement, Rory's scheduled for an MRI on Monday, and you just think, everything just goes limp at that. Because you know the big round's not. It's not happening. And it's bothering him enough that he's letting you know. He wants you to know why he's playing bad. That's never. And he played fine. He just didn't have his full Rory game. So that definitely hurt a little bit last week. But I think this will be a pretty good week to get back onto DJ. It's a weaker field. He's been really good. This is a tournament where he's been pretty good consistently. I mean, last week that was not really an event where he'd ever played well.
No.
And he had his best finish, 12th. I mean, he actually finished his round on Sunday. I think he was in like 20th. And then everybody else just fell back, and he just kept working his way up the board. So I think this will be a good week to get back on him. I'm not going to fade him. I still think this will be a special season for him.
What do you think the masses are going to do? Is he going to be highly owned this week?
You know, I don't know that it'll be. I thought last week that was right about what I thought. A lot of people thought
about 16 to 20%. Right?
I thought maybe a little closer as people talked about it. I thought there would be a little bit more. I think at the beginning of the week, I was somewhere right in that range, in that 15 to 20 range, where he ended up coming in. I think, considering the field's a little bit weaker, it'll probably be a little closer to 20, but I don't think it's going to be dramatically.
You think it'll be about 20?
I think it'll be probably about 20 or so.
All right. Who's going to take ownership off of him up top?
Well, Sergio will, but they've done a good job on pricing Sergio this week. He won last year. He looked good last week. He won at Augusta. He won in Abu Dhabi, I think it was. So he's obviously having a really good season. Typically, you wouldn't see this is big here actually. Seeing Sergio leap over Jordan Spieth.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty significant. I mean, that's kind of a switch. Somewhere the odds makers in Vegas basically this week are saying we think Sergio's game is on par or potentially even better than what Jordan's showing us right now. And it took a long time to get to that point, but I mean, he won here last year. He took plenty of time off after the Masters. So I don't think he's going to be tired. I don't think he'll be spent.
No.
So I do think Sergio will have at least 15% or so in terms of ownership.
Oh, for sure.
I'll be real interested in seeing how people react to Jordan Spieth.
And the miscut.
I mean, for me at Sawgrass, he's been just terrible there now for 3 straight years.
He has.
And I don't think it's a great course for him. I mean, I know his approach game is really good.
But why is I don't understand why it's not a better course for him.
Because off the tee.
But
you've got water on almost every single hole out there. So if you hit a terrible tee shot,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how good your approach game is if you're consistently hitting out a pine straw.
Did you see that picture? I was right next to him.
I did see that.
He goes, so I'm standing there, and of course the group crowds around with the ball and the pine straw, and Michael, his caddy, comes up and is looking around and everything, and Jordan meanders in. He's not real happy, and he mulls it over for like 15 minutes. It took forever. He's going through trees and stuff, gets all ready to set, and he goes like this up to his ball, and he goes, Michael, this isn't going to hit that palm tree, is it? And the whole crowd starts breaking out laughing, and he starts laughing, and then he hit it, and it was a nice shot, actually, that he made out of there, but it was quite humorous. He was in the straw a lot.
But if you're in the pine straw, if you're in those long bunkers, or if you're hitting it into the water out there, it doesn't matter how good your approach game is, your shot game, your putter, you're just taking too many penalties throughout the day, and that caught up and it killed him. It had a couple bad holes. I mean, he put it into the water on 17, I think on Friday. I think he was in the water in the first round as well. Or at least he doubled on 18, I want to say, the first day, which hurt him. So he makes too many mistakes off the tee right now for that to be a great course for him. So.
Do you think this is a decent time to get on?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, last year...
Going home. Although he hasn't been great here, though. No,
he hasn't. But last year he looked pretty good at this event until Sunday, and then Sunday it was he was in contention. I mean, he was TV time guy, and then faded back, and then a week later he won at Dean and DeLuca.
Yeah.
So it's real close.
That's interesting because his ownership will probably be what, 15%?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think
tops.
I mean, I was actually shocked to see it at like 22% last week.
Yeah.
The fact that he was higher than DJ and almost on par with Rory was a surprise. And maybe that was just... I heard enough people in the industry talk him up that I figured there'd be a little bit more, but I thought Rory would be hands down the highest, and he ended up being in the low 20s.
Yeah, he's 22.
So not quite as high. So it'll be interesting there. The guy who I think people will be on, for sure.
Brooks.
This guy, I think he's going to soak up a ton of ownership. They've been just waiting to get back on, and now that he's shown form...
Brooks cost me so much money in this event last year. When he whittled it away. Oh, if he wins, I win so much.
Yeah, it was
so gross.
And I want to say, he had some? This was a time of year when he had some kind of an injury or something. He wasn't 100% finishing the event on Sunday. I mean, you could tell it was kind of noticeable.
Yeah, he's going to be popular.
He'll be very popular
because Day will not be.
No, and Day was playing pretty well all the way up until Sunday when I think he also shot like a 79 or 78 or something in that range to completely fall from like 20th at the beginning of the day back to 60th at the end. And he's going to explode one of these weeks where he just runs away.
You think,
Is this that event? Can he do it? He's won here before, so he's going to be probably the lowest owned, one of the lower owned guys.
Yeah,
I may in tournament play because, I'm talking with Feinberg. I'm probably going to bet Brooks outright, so that'll be my Brooks play for the week.
18-1.
At 18-1, yeah, I know. I'm not very excited about that, but that gives me something. That gives me a little bit of a more incentive to potentially fade him in a tournament scenario. I mean, at a price of 10-2, he's got to do what he did last year in order to pay off that price.
Yep.
I think the fact that he'll be popular and Day won't. You compare those two guys. You give me Jason Day a heads up against Brooks Koepka.
I'll take Day every time.
Yeah, I'll take that. So I think that might be my pivot play right there in the upper range to go down and grab shares a day at 10-1.
Dropping down into that 8K range, there's some intriguing guys. There's some guys you scratch your head at their price. A couple guys that stand out to me are Tony Finau at 9,200, Jason Duffner at 88. Very pricey, guys I like, but you're paying a severe price for him. If you want to go with a big name guy like a DJ, you're paying the price to put on a Finau on your roster. Because then you're dropping down to the low 7s and 6 with the rest.
How often do we see Tony Finau priced higher than like Duffner? Well, you see Duffner probably okay, but Matt Kuchar. How often do we ever see
it's bizarre.
Finau over Matt Kuchar? Who's, if you look at Kuchar's history here,
pretty good.
Pretty damn good. I mean, 3 top 10s, 4 in top 15. Hasn't missed a cut here in about many years, at least a decade or so going back in my tournament history. And yet Finau gets a pretty decent bump in terms of an extra $500. And I think he'll still be popular because people are going to see the 12 and the 10.
Yep.
They're going to see that he has done well this season. But yeah, I mean that might be another one there where you look at potentially for fade. Although all these guys right in that range, Finau, Duffner, Kuchar, and even Charlie Hoffman.
Oh yeah,
all have excellent tournament history.
Yep.
Charlie Hoffman, it's Texas. So do you have to play him here?
I don't. I never want to play Charlie Hoffman.
He was so horrible to us at Valero. I mean,
I
he had
hate
a great
that guy.
Yeah,
God, I hate him
I
so
never hit a Charlie week.
No, never.
And he has 3 or 4 a season, and I'm never. Maybe I own 5% of him when he has a big week. Usually 0 when he's on a roll. But yeah, I mean, it's Texas, and he's played well here over the last few years. But
a couple of guys who I liked a lot before the prices came out were Russell Henley. 8,300 seems steep for him.
That's about right.
I'm still okay with it, but you know, it's just compared to the other names. Bud Cauley is another one at 7,800. I'm like, yeah, this is nice. And then that price comes out.
Henley,
like,
though,
oh.
I mean, Henley was 8,200 in the field for the players.
Yeah.
And was decent. And so he's a guy who doesn't really miss too many cuts. I thought it was a pretty fair. He's going to be a great cash game play, I think, at that point.
I think so.
I
Yeah,
think for
he
me,
looked awful day 1 when I was following him. He was miserable.
And then he
day 2
surged
he stormed.
on day 2, and I thought, oh, here it comes.
Yep.
He's going to make a run. And then everybody was all over the place, day 3 and day 4.
Yep.
So I think that's a pretty fair price. I do like him at that price. You know, I think for cash games, Byung-Hoon An has been a fantastic cut maker this season. Hasn't always had the upside in tournament play, but did look good the last time out in North Carolina just a couple weeks back. So I think that's a very solid play. Is JB Holmes going to be emotionally drained?
Wow, I'm emotionally drained from watching
7,900. I mean, it was.
Wow, was that
the
painful?
The guy went from contending, maybe he's going to win, pull this thing off. I mean, he was at first place in certain points on the final round, and then where did he end up finishing here? 41st.
Oh, it was so sickening.
I mean, that's a
17 just carved him up, and it wasn't just 17. 17 was like the cherry on top when
the whole round
water ball, drop zone, water ball. He's just throw me the ball, caddy. I'll drop here again.
The whole day was bad. I mean, it was rough. Is he going to be drained? I mean, 7,900 normally pretty good price.
Yeah, that seems pretty good
for JB Holmes.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really have a lot of tournament.
He hasn't done much this year either.
He's played 3 in a row. He's had an emotionally kind of tough week. I'm a little bit nervous.
I think I'm out.
Yeah, I think so too, just because I don't know what we're going to get on. I'd have a hard time believing that after such a big event like the Players, where he had a chance to win, and then completely comes undone the final day, that he comes back just emotionally and physically ready to go this week too.
A couple of guys down in the 7K range are intrigued. There's a couple of guys who are just like DA, or let's say DA points, Robert Streb at 7,500. I'm like, whoa, I like a ton of guys below them. Guys like Sung Kang, who's been playing well at 7,400, I like a lot better than those guys. And then you drop down even further than that. Like Smiley Kaufman's intriguing at 7,100. Is he storming back? Is he going to...
it looks like
get to the level he was.
SB2K17 had the opposite effect of 1.6. Last year he came in cruising into the break. He goes on spring break with the boys and just nosedives the rest of the year. This year, terrible.
You wonder what happens.
All the way up to spring break, and now he found something in his game. He can hit the ball again, and he's the same guy we saw at the beginning of last year. So... yeah, I mean, I think this is the time to definitely potentially to catch him, because I think the game is probably on the upswing. I was really surprised to see a couple pricing issues that I had. JT Poston just can't get any respect.
Fine by me.
Which is weird. I mean, he'll be a staple.
Making cuts.
He'll be another guy who I have across the board cash games this week, because I don't know why he wouldn't be higher. He's had good enough finishes. He's had 3-4 top 25 finishes in his little run of 8 or 9 straight made cuts. I think JJ Spawn at 7,300. That's also a pretty good price there for a guy who's played really well overall on his rookie season.
Yep.
Any other long shots?
Although, if you could have Brendan Todd for 7K.
hey, former champion.
I know, I saw that.
That's what I was
Remember when Brendan Todd was good?
Well, I mean, you could stack a number of former champions this week. Stephen Bowditch won this event 2 years ago. That was kind of like the last big push for his career when he won this event. Although he did have a couple good events after that. He made it all the way to the Tour Championship that season. But I mean, he's Stephen Bowditch. Hey, let's get the narrative going for Stephen. He's a
Oh,
Texas
right.
guy, right? Australia, Texas. I mean, it all kind of goes. Maybe he gets it together here. Probably not.
No.
No, he's just kind of cruising off into the.
I think he's done.
But yeah, so Brendan Todd and Stephen Bowditch, former champions
Yep.
here. It's a weird mix of guys who have previously won this event. Some really elite and like Sergio and Day, and then a couple guys who were a little
And Duffner.
a little less. Yeah, Duffner's one.
But you got guys at 6,900 that I like a tremendous amount more than those guys that we were just talking about. Like, don't love Swafford. I like him more than those guys. But like Keegan plays well here. Nick Taylor, who's been real nice.
You don't play Keegan, do you?
I might play him a little bit this week.
No
I might. I don't know. I haven't decided.
You hate Keegan Bradley.
Yeah, I do actually.
I could have sworn he was on your never play list at this point.
Is he on my never play
I
list?
thought so. I thought
Maybe he should be.
I thought you'd put him there with Webb Simpson and all the other guys who used to have the ankle putters.
And Paul Casey.
The never play.
And I think Charlie Hoffman, actually. I think he'll be on the never
is
play
Charlie
list.
a never play guy?
I think
for you?
so. Yeah, I think I'm done with him. But like guys like Fabrizio Zanotti is coming over from Europe. It'll be interesting. I know you love the European guys
never
when they
like 'em
come
when they
over
come
in their
over.
first event.
This
I know
is
you're
such a-
always big on them.
This is such a weird one. Like, why is he coming over now?
It is odd.
It's a strange timing. Nobody else is making.
But didn't
that
he
leap
play
right
in
now.
Puerto Rico? I think he played in Puerto Rico.
He did.
Yep.
Yeah, he did, and he missed the cut. So that makes me even
Been
less.
playing well in Europe.
Yeah, I know that usually sets up
Straight
real
to
well
Texas.
come over to the U.S. and then choke down on whatever course you're at. So yeah, I mean that's a good price, but I don't think I'll take a shot there. I think I'll probably go back to Nick Taylor. He's been really good.
Yeah, he
He's at
has.
6,900 down there.
Yep.
I like that.
Give me one more.
Boy, anybody else on
Give me
this
zero
list?
more.
There's a few guys who are, I mean, coming all the way down here to 6,700. I can't get behind this guy.
6,700.
I can't get behind him.
You can't get behind.
But this is as low as we're ever going to see his price, I would think, unless his career is just over at this stage.
not Billy Ho.
I mean, he's 6,700.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I mean, how he's a guy who's typically in the low to mid eights. We've seen him up as high as like 9 before.
He lost it last week. He snapped. He would look like a fool,
Yeah,
lashing out at
he's a
whatever
Florida guy.
happened. I know.
So he's looked bad on Florida courses.
Yeah. Yep.
Across the board. No, I'm not going to give that one away. I'm going to save that.
Okay. Whether you're rostering Billy Ho or not,
I'm not.
become a premium member to find out if Zachary is on Billy Ho.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not.
All right, save your money then. So that'll do it for this week and the AT&T Byron Nelson. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions for us, you can always email us at info@fantasygolfinsider.com. We're at Fantasy Golfers on Twitter. You can check Zach out on the Periscope on Wednesday nights. I also send out our update email on Wednesday night with the latest withdrawals, weather conditions, any last-minute strategy things, industry news that we're hearing, buzz, things like that, to kind of give you an edge heading into lineup lock on Thursday morning. Otherwise, become a premium member, join our site, and stay or become a winning and profitable DFS player. That's all for now. We'll talk to you next week. Good luck this week.
Good luck.